I was trying to run this program and it says import numpy, and I didn't have numpy installed. So I tried to install numpy, but still the Python idle, IDLE, that I was using couldn't find the numpy, and I sort of tried to fix it, but couldn't really figure out how to fix it. So I took a kind of drastic step, which was to just completely delete Python. And it seems like I also had, I had forgotten, but I also had installed something called Anaconda, which has Python. And I had forgotten that I had it. So there could have been a problem of, even though I had installed NumPy, I had sort of installed it for the version that I wasn't using in the IDLE, and so it wasn't finding it. So anyway, I uninstalled everything. I uninstalled Python and Anaconda. So now I'm going to see if I can do this again. I'm going to install Python first. So I did a search for install Python, and let's see, it takes me to here. So I guess I'm just going to use this one here. And I'm going to open it. Actually, in this case, I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to click open the file. And I'm just going to do, now they say not to do this, but, or maybe they don't. Okay, let's try that and try this. So as far as I understand, this will make it kind of easier for Windows, or more likely that Windows will find the installation. So let's try that. Okay, now it's finished. Let's see if I type in Python here, what do I have? Okay, so I have this, which is what I had, what it looked like before. And so what I wanted to do was run a file that I found. So I'll show you that file. So it's at GitHub. But anyway, I'm just going to copy it. There might be an easier way to do this. I guess you could probably save it. Say go to file. Maybe here. Maybe I can download it. I wonder. Let's save link as. Okay, maybe I can do that. So I'll save it. Now I'll go back and I'll open up Python, the idle, IDLE, and I'll try to find this program that I just downloaded. And I'll go to File and Open. And this is like where Python is installed, and I just might want to make a copy of this location. But I'll try and load it from here. So let me try that. No, that's not the file I wanted. That got all the HTML. That's not what I want. So I'll just go back and copy this. And then let me open up a new file and put it in there. So I'll just paste it in there. And I will save this. Or maybe it's going to save it in that other location here. So let's just save it with this name, because that's what, okay, so I have it there. Now it probably isn't going to work because I haven't installed numpy, and maybe I have to install JSON also, I'm not sure. So let's just try and run it though, but it's not going to run. Run module. Okay, so it says it can't find numpy. So let's try to install numpy, or to install any kind of module. So the way you do that in Windows is you go to the command prompt, and you can either type, I'm not sure, it seems like there's a different, one is to type pip3, and the other is just to type pip and install numpy. but I'm going to try pip3 because I read that pip3 is especially for Python 3. So pip3 install Python. Let's see if this works. No, not install Python. Install numpy. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, so it's starting to download. Okay, so it worked. By the way, it gives us a warning about using an older version of pip. And I thought I upgraded mine already, but I'll try it again. But I don't think it, first of all, I don't think it matters. And second of all, I don't think this works, but I'll just try it. Let's try copying this. So I'll go to here. I think I copied it. Yeah. Now, I don't think this will work, but let's see if it works. Actually, it did work. So it's upgrading my pip, but I don't think it matters that I have a newer version of pip or not. Okay, anyway, it said that it installed a newer version now. Okay, but I'm going to just close this. Now, I don't think that I think I have to close this Python shell to get this to work, but let's just try import numpy and see if it works. Oh, it worked. Okay, before this didn't work. So now it works. So I had to go through this kind of drastic step of uninstalling all versions of Python. I couldn't even remember that I installed Anaconda, and when I typed in Python, it didn't even mention anything. When I typed in Python down here, it only mentioned one version, so it didn't even give me a clue that I had also installed it by way of this Anaconda. So I just happened to be searching for an answer, and I happened to see the word Anaconda, and I remembered, oh, I did install Anaconda. But anyway, I uninstalled both Anaconda and Python, then reinstalled Python, and then did what you just saw here. Okay, now if I try and run this, I still don't think it'll work because I'm not sure. Okay, so numpy works, or should work. This numpy should be there, but I don't know about this. Probably this is okay, but let's see. This might just come with the regular Python installation that I just did. Okay, so there's some error. So I don't know if this is, let's see, if I type in import JSON, does this work? Yeah, the JSON is available. So this is some other problem with this program, and I don't know what it is. But anyway, that's not important, at least for now. So anyway, that's how you might have to import modules. So as we saw, JSON didn't need to be imported or by a pip. I'm sorry, not imported, installed. JSON didn't need to be installed. It was already there, so I could use import JSON without having to install it first, but I couldn't do that with numpy. I had to install it first, and then I could import it successfully, just like this was successfully imported. By successful, you see that we didn't get any error when we tried to type this. But here, when we tried to import numpy, or we didn't try it, but the file tried it. This file tried to import numpy, but it wasn't there. So we had to install it first. We had to use the pip. So that was the point of this video. So just as a follow-up to that last video about installing numpy, so I was able to run this program actually. And I had just done a search to find this program. I was trying to figure out, I use Google Maps and I have my timeline turned on, so it records all of everywhere I go. Some people don't want to do that. But once you have that, then you can see where you've gone on any particular day. But I wanted to know when I had visited a particular location, and it seems like Google doesn't tell you how to do that, but I found somebody who said they'd written a program to do it, and that is. So he says, my first attempt at digging into my locations data. So Google has this data and they share it with you. Of course, I guess I can say of course, and you can go and you can download it. It's actually a huge file. I think mine was half a gigabyte of data, and it's just basically a text file. So that's a lot of data. But I guess it tells you where you were, and maybe over many, many years. So maybe that's why it's so big. Anyway, this script tells me all the dates and times when I've been somewhere specific. So I ran it first and it said, oh, you can't find a certain file. And I thought, oh, maybe this is too hard to use. But then I realized that it was just asking for this file. It says you need to download your location history JSON file from Google. So that's pretty easy to do. And you can go here and figure out how to do it. It's very simple. And then actually then I got another error that still said I couldn't find it, even though I had downloaded and extracted it and so on, put it in the right location. So, but it still couldn't find it, and that's because Google calls it, I think it calls it location space history, like this, with a capital L and a capital H and a space in between. But in his script below, he calls it location with a small l and then an underscore here and then a small h here. So, Google had it named like this, basically, so it didn't find it. So I just renamed that file, and then I did it. And I was hoping that it would ask me, once I started to run it, for a location, but I realized, no, it's not doing that, because I ran it and didn't ask me anything. So I went to this part of the script, points of interest and timestamp. So he has the default timestamp like this, and so you would probably want to change this. And the location is given in degrees, and I didn't know how to get the degrees of the location that I wanted, but it turns out to be not so difficult. For example, suppose I want to find the location in degrees of Tokyo Station. So you go to the Google Maps, and you click on the icon that is where you want to go, and you click like that, shows you that. But up here, somewhere up here, it shows you, I guess all the way to the end. It didn't look quite like this last time, but maybe that's because Tokyo Station's kind of wide. Look at all this stuff. So here, it tells you that these are so somewhere in this URL you can find this stuff. And this is the location. So you want to copy this and put it in here for that location. And then you can say a radius of something, like 150 meters. And then if you run it, it will tell you, it'll give you all of the dates when you are at this particular location. So in other words, then you'd go up and run it here after you filled this stuff in and filled this stuff in, and make sure that you rename the file so that this program can find it, and go to just run. And it actually takes quite a while to run. I mean, well, it took me about a little more than 5 minutes, I guess, before I could see the results. So that's one example of finding a script that someone else has written and just running it, just using it.